because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father.
Hi guys, welcome to Truth Talkin Thursday. This is Jim, I'm Jane. We are not riding today. I had a super busy day and so did Jim, so we decided to just record on my deck. So here we are on the deck. We got coffee, we got hot chocolate, and we're good to go. Jim is feeling controversial. We landed on a topic and he literally rubbed his hands together and he said, "Good, we have a difference of opinion." So like he's just, lit. He's ready to have this conversation. So here's the conversation. Jim asked the question. This is one for parents.
You want me to ask the
Yep.
question? Well, this has come up several times in the last little while for me, and it's more recently, probably in the last week or so, as I finished up another project, or almost finished up another project I've been working on for a long time, and it has to do with education and kids and all that sort of thing. Anyway, the question is, if we're trying to develop a relationship with our children and be the best parents we can, and I'm assuming that most parents would take that position, then it gets down to how do we build a relationship with our children, and at the same time, how do we go about teaching those lessons that need to be taught? How do we go about correcting our children's behavior? How do we go about helping our kids understand that the decisions that they made on Saturday evening or whatever it was, were not very good choices to make? How do we do that? They need to have boundaries and repercussions and consequences to their choices. My question is, does that require punishment, or does it require a different kind of approach that will get you to the same place but doesn't alienate your relationship with your kids?
That's funny because you didn't mention anything about punishment when you asked me my opinion, Jim. I think you changed this on me.
No, I didn't.
So, I don't know. Based on what you just said, I think that my mind has kind of gone in a different direction. You had mentioned before the importance of, or you said, what is the difference, or is there a difference between praise or encouragement? Mm-hmm. And do kids need both, one or the other, or neither? And I had kind of said, I think they need both. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to qualify that now, because you mentioned punishment. Right. And in all honesty, I totally understand what you're saying. I know that I'm guilty as a parent of focusing on the negative instead of the positive in a situation. I know I've done that before. I know that I've undoubtedly discouraged my children from possible great lessons they could have learned by pointing out the negative instead of trying to help them focus on the positive of a situation that didn't quite go as planned. And maybe even encouraging them to think a little bit differently and turn that situation into something different, turn the consequence into something a little different. And I guess that's how I equated the two. There are times when punishment is necessary. I don't care how old they are. The kids live in your house, they're your rules. I don't have a problem saying that. I know my kids, I feel like my kids respect me. They test me, and I'm sure I test them as well. But that's to be expected. You got 3 adults living under one roof, and you've got 2 of them quite young and probably ready for some freedom. And
so how would you punish a 25-year-old son?
I don't think that's in my place anymore. I would like to think that I wouldn't need to, I guess.
So he's perfect now?
No, he's not perfect, but I would like to think we could communicate about a situation, and I would like to think that he would respect me if I said to him, no, I don't want you to do that anymore.
Okay. So how would you go about doing that?
Have the conversation, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight up.
Is there a consequence slash punishment involved in that? So seeing how you decide to do that, you can no longer do this.
Here's the thing, Jim.
Yes, Jane?
You've seen my son.
Yes,
He's
I have.
6'6".
Yes.
He's, 250 pounds?
Yeah, he's a big person.
And in actuality, what is actually the likelihood of me saying no and feeling like that's going to be enforced?
But you still have to make sure,
I'm
to
thinking
establish boundaries.
I'm thinking punishment. Yeah, but I feel like we have them. I feel like actually you and I talked about this before I even moved home. I think we even might have recorded it, and we were talking about boundaries, and we were talking about okay.
Mhm.
I sat down with him and I said, look, this is what I need. This is what I'm feeling pressured about. This is what I need. Can you help me? And then I said to him, what do you need?
Right.
And he agreed. He
Right.
agreed on things, and so far, I don't know. You knock on wood. I don't know, but I don't think I need to knock on wood. I think things have gone well, and I think both my kids are good kids. Yeah, they make choices that I wouldn't make, and they, I guess I would say, suffer the consequences, and sometimes that means I'm angry at them, and I let them know it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because they let me know when they're angry at me. That's what adults do, don't they?
But when you're meting out punishment of sorts, it becomes personal. It can't be anything other than personal. It's you against them. And,
Yes.
and our language tends to reflect that.
But I guess then you need to define punishment, because I don't feel like I can punish either one. Like, to me, a punishment would be, as you said, well, you can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if worse came to worse, I don't think I would have a problem telling my kid, no, you can't use my car.
And why would he
I don't know.
not be able to use the car? No,
If something happened to it, or
a choice he made?
Sure.
Okay.
But I mean, I've never had that experience, thank goodness.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like my children and I have a very good relationship.
Oh yeah.
And I would like to think, and I believe my children respect me.
But there are those families, and there are those relationships between sons, daughters, and parents that aren't respectful. How do you create a respectful relationship, or how do you develop one, or what do you have to do to change? Because obviously, let me go back to what is the difference between praising your child and encouraging your child? The one major difference is that when you praise your kid, and this is all done with the best of intentions. This isn't done willfully. This isn't done. Parents don't do this because they're horrible people and all this kind of stuff. They really, truly, honestly believe that they're doing the right thing, saying the right thing, and treating their kids in the right way in order for them to grow up to be good, solid citizens and all that kind of stuff. But the fact remains that it doesn't work that way all the time. So how do we become aware of that, and how do we not do that? So when I I'll use myself. If I were to go to my kids and say, let's say I went to a field day and my kid came in second, I would praise him or encourage him. If I praise him, it's me asking my child to feel whatever it is I said I felt. So I felt disappointed that you didn't win first prize.
Well, that's not praise, that's criticism.
But, I knew you ran pretty good. I mean, it's when we take away the effort that's made by the child, then we make it about us. And his behavior is not about us, it's about them. If you're going to encourage him, you would say, gee, all that training really paid off for you. You really ran a hard race. Good for you. There's a big difference in terms of where you are coming with that. You're not asking. You're not saying to the kid, "You disappointed me because you didn't win the race." What I'm saying to him is I recognized how hard you worked and how hard you ran, and you did the best you could. Good for you. The lesson there is you always put out the best you can.
Well, I think it's really important to be genuine when you encourage or praise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think, just randomly saying stuff. Like, I think kids can sense that, too. Like if you're just saying, "Oh, good job,"
Well, you don't say it like that.
and you
number
really
one, and
don't
number two,
mean it.
I mean, you know your kid. You would talk to your kid different. I would talk to my child differently than you would talk to your child. The likelihood is. So they would know that I'm being honest and sincere. That I'm not being some putz who's just kind of feeding them a line.
So there you have it. There is the difference between praise and encouragement, and there are some pointed tips on what not to say. And,
With the best of intentions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's always good. We all need to feel supported in to greater or lesser degrees. So have an awesome week, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for stopping by.